So I know there's been this conversation around whether or not to platform Nick Fuentes, right? But I feel like if he's flaming and torching other Republicans, there's no problem with that. Now, if he's spreading misinformation and stuff like that, no, you shouldn't platform that. But as far as him going after MAGA, oh, I'm here for it. In this next clip, you're going to see how Nick Fuentes torched Donald Trump. Let's get into it, y'all. But first, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel while the intro plays. Let's go. All right, so this one is a long one, y'all, so let's get into it. Here we go.
Is really crushing after 10 years is the message. And it's like Trump is getting old, his movement is getting old, America's getting old. And it feels like as Trump loses energy, as he has been defeated in a way, it feels like the movement is being defeated. The movement that he built is just, it's out of ideas. It's out of steam. We tried it. We thought we could do it. We can't. We gave it one last try, one last push. Make America great again. Let's do it. Never mind. Everyone go home. We actually do need the Indians. We lost. We were wrong. The elites were right. We're worthless. We need Chinese money. We need Indian programmers. That's the sense of dread. And this is why I said a year ago, it really is about the vibes. I said this a year ago. Trump is old. He's tired. He's not funny. He's low energy. He's monotonous. I said, and his movement is dead. Like his movement is not dynamic. His movement has been captured. Look at who's at Mar-a-Lago. It's all grifters. When Trump started, it was all true believers. When Trump started, it was like him and like a dozen people with a dream. And they were bootstrapping it. They were just doing these rallies, flying by the seat of their pants. And they're like, can we win? I don't know. We're going to try. And all the careerists and all of the parasite political class, they hated Trump. Now they're all in Mar-a-Lago. Now Mar-a-Lago is just the king's court, and it's all ass.
And also, let's be honest about something. J.D. Vance called Trump Hitler, and now all of a sudden he's the VP. Why is he the VP? Because people like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk is all like, hey, you need to pick him as your VP. So all that, oh, he's draining the swamp and all. No, the swamp is with Trump. Remember, I said this the other day.
And brown nosers and grifters and shills and the worst people imaginable. His endorsements have become a business. Access to him, photos with him have become a business. Like all of the shills from 15 are now on the inside. All the people that hated MAGA are now the biggest MAGA supporters. Trump has been fully assimilated. He has fully been compromised by the GOP. And there's nothing risky, nothing edgy. There's no entrepreneurial spirit. Look what happened to Elon Musk. Elon Musk came, and he was maybe the last younger, and he bought Twitter, and he's the rocket man and everything like that. Elon came in with Doge. He got chewed up and spit out in 3 months. Elon was a little bit of energy, like, he was kind of like a little shock therapy for MAGA. And he lasted 3 months. He said, we're going to come in and we're going to bring in all these young guys and we're just going to move fast and break things. We could just do things. Remember, we could just do things. We're going to cut $1 trillion from the deficit. He got chewed up and spit out in 3 months. And now look at where we are. Nothing that has been promised has come to fruition. Can we end the wars? No. Trump wants to go back to Afghanistan.
And don't forget, they're spending $4 trillion on that big, beautiful bill. And Elon was pissed about that. He was all like, how are you guys? I'm trying to cut spending, but now you guys are adding spending. Mind you, Elon Musk was able to get some subsidies. So yeah, that's where the money actually going to Elon Musk. But hey, what do I know? It's only evident by they won't cut the defense, which that's where Elon gets a lot of his subsidies from, defense.
Bombing Iran. We're building a base in Gaza. Mass deportations, Trump says, not so fast. We actually need all the people. We need the illegal farm workers. We need the illegal hospitality workers. We need the illegal construction workers. We're going to shut down H-1Bs, foreign students. Not so fast. We need all those Asians to fund our universities and do all the jobs that Americans are too retarded to do. Cut the deficit, forget about it. Epstein files, they don't exist. Can't afford a home? Well, get lost. Here we are a year in, your golden age. And it was rotten from the start because the donors got involved. And you have to understand that these things go hand in hand. When Trump started, he was not surrounded by the money. When Trump started, he funded his primary campaign with like $70 million. And it was just him and a small staff, and he was on Twitter, and that was it. And that's why it was energetic. That's why it was daring and risk-taking and exciting. And what happened really right after he won the election the first time in 17 and 18, is that all of the interests surrounded him, the money, the shills, the personnel, the bureaucrats. And the second that happened, they poisoned the well. And suddenly it became cautious and conventional and boring and safe. And suddenly it became about everyone getting a handout. Suddenly it became about patronage. Everybody getting their back scratched. Everybody getting taken care of under the table. Israel lobby, Wall Street, Silicon Valley, the corporate tax cuts, moving the embassy.
Real quick, I would like a Republican to actually explain in my comment section, like, why did y'all ever think that Trump wasn't like these people, like as you know, the Shields and all the billionaires and this person, that person? Like, he was allegedly he was a billionaire at that time when he first started running. So of course he was around those powerful people. Like to me, I don't think these people just came out of nowhere. Like all of a sudden when he got into office, they came around him, all that other stuff. No. I think that he knew that, hey, it's a good old boys club. We look out for each other. We protect each other. Of course, you know, one thing, tax cuts, tax cuts benefit him, but it all fits all his friends, his peers. And his peers is not the people living in their trailers. The peers are the other trillionaires, billionaires, all those people, big business, big corporations. Those are his peers. You guys are not his peers.
Came about everything other than the people. These things go hand in hand. And this is what I said last year. Like all of these ideas that we talk about on the show, about personnel, about the Israel lobby, about the Trump campaign, about why things aren't happening quickly or at all these things are deeply related. If the Heritage Foundation is controlled by Israel lobbyists, if the Republican Party is controlled by the Israel lobby and the interests, if they're policing the young people in the speech, if they're working for the donors and the rich, then you're never going to get the good policy. You're never going to get your American revival. They're fucking killing our country. Every time the president of the United States says we have to take care of the universities before the young people, we have to take care of Hyundai and the South Koreans before we train up our own workforce, they're killing our country. They're murdering our country in order.
So I want to talk about the Hyundai thing because a lot of people are, that's the situation where in Georgia, this woman had called ICE on the South Koreans. Mind you, they were just there to help, build the facility, help with training, and then they were going to go back home. So after they did that whole ICE stunt, they left early because they was like, let's get the fuck out of here because they trying to call ICE on us and all that stuff. So that's actually what it was. They were bringing jobs to the state of Georgia. They weren't trying to take any jobs away. They were there for training. That's a big misconception that those people were there to try to replace. And no, they were training. And then they were going to get up out of there once the facility was built and it was underway, and then hire Americans to work there. So, or the people of Georgia. So yeah, that's a whole misconception right there, but I'll let them continue.
To satisfy all the special interests and give the political kickbacks, we're literally murdering our country. And the whole idea behind Trumpism is that we could transcend the petty politics, the wheeling and dealing, the quid pro quo, the money power. The idea was if we could transcend that, if we could have the people elect one leader, and if he wasn't beholden to the interests, he could get in, hire the right people, and just fix it. And everybody'd be unhappy. The media'd be pissed. Everybody'd be pissed. There'd be pain and economic pain and maybe chaos. But with a firm hand and with consistency and with leadership, that we could actually revive the country. We would have to break the back of all these self-perpetuating systems that have gotten us to this point. That was the whole idea. That's what made it interesting and exciting and worth supporting. And the second that it backslid everything they were, that's when I jumped off. That's when I said, I'm out. But all the idiots stuck around because, you know, a lot of them, they just caught on way too late. A lot of people got red-pilled in like 2021. A lot of the people that voted for Trump in 24, they became conservative after the pandemic. They weren't there for the first time. And so their support for Trump is just like a generic conservatism. It's like a generic reaction to the excesses of the left. And so they weren't there for that magical campaign. They weren't there for that populist moment. And that's why they were sold a bunch of crap by propagandists on Twitter who were telling them it's going to be a never-ending Creed concert. We're going to be drinking Code Red Mountain Dew and playing Xbox, and it's going to be the golden age. You know, Vivek Ramaswamy and Tulsi Gabbard are going to put America first or whatever. Like they were just not prepared for that. And now here we are.
You know, he brings up a very valid point. What I see MAGA is today, it's not the same 2016. It's not the same. And for many reasons why it's not the same. But one thing that I noticed about the newer Trump voters, a lot of people almost did it to troll. And I mean to troll the Democrats and to troll the left, as in TROLL, not control, troll. They wanted to basically give a big middle finger to Democrats and the left and people who they felt like was trying to police them as far as cancel culture, wearing masks, getting the vax, you know, those kind of things. They wanted to rebel. So this is why they went MAGA. Now, fast forward to everything going on today. Yeah, you might have not liked cancel culture or people trying to control you and do this and that, but now you're broke. Now you don't know where your next meal is going to come from. Now you can't get a job. Or if you go try to get a job, they're trying to shortchange you basically and pay you about like 30 to 50% less than what they should be paying you. And a lot of people are getting laid off. Prices are up, like inflation. It's not easy right now. And you did all that trolling by voting for Trump. Look where it got you.
I was right. I told you so. This is not MAGA. There is nothing MAGA about any of this. This is not America first. None of this is putting Americans first. Every promise has been broken. There are no real victories. Trump has not delivered. It has been one disappointment after another, and that is because of corruption. That is because the Trump regime, just like every other regime, has been corrupted by money. That's the bottom line. You have been disappointed. You fell for it again. You believed them when they made a promise, which they never intended to keep. They said things to you to get your vote, knowing full well that once they got it, they were going to work for the donors. That's who pays for the cabinet appointments and the ambassadorships. That's who captures the bureaucracy. And that is why the system is sclerotic. That is why the system is slow and broken and unanswerable to the people and not even thinking about the people. And you're almost better off with Biden than with this. This is just like criminal stuff. And I'm not saying I'm it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I don't care. But all Trump seems to have done, he's just as bad as the Democrats. The only difference is Trump has given people a false sense of victory.
Yeah, that false sense of victory led you astray. That false sense of victory had you feeling like you were better than everybody else. And that, oh yeah, he's going to come in and save the day. He didn't care about saving you. He cared about saving himself because of all them court cases. Don't forget, he's a convicted felon, 34 counts. Like, come on now. He was trying to keep himself out of jail.
Trump has lulled people into complacency. Everybody thought the people triumphed when Trump won. He's different. He's talking like the rest of us. That's what is particularly sinister about the Trump movement, is the way that it functioned as a Trojan horse. Biden was worse. Kamala would have been worse. But at least with Kamala, nobody would be under any illusions. Would Kamala be better? No, she would have been far worse. The economy would be worse. Immigration would
I always laugh at them when they say, oh, well, Trump is disappointing, but Kamala would have been worse. How would she have been worse? So you're telling me that she would have been the worst ever, and like we would have just been crumbling, and like we would go through the Great Depression? Like, honestly, to tell you the truth, I hate to say like it can't get no worse, but we headed to where it can't get no worse. That's where we're headed right now. I do not believe, and I'll put $500 on it, that we would be in the same situation if Kamala had won, or if she didn't get cheated and the election wasn't rigged. But we'll talk about that later. Let's continue.
Be worse. It all would be worse. But here's what matters, and here's the difference. Nobody would be under any illusions about what it is. That it's illegitimate. The elections are fake. The government's corrupt. She's not really in charge. The system hates us. There'd be no love lost there. And everybody would be acutely aware of the problem. You'd have righteous indignation. You'd have anger. There'd be a revolutionary fervor. But instead, with Trump, you get the pressure release valve. And no matter what he says or what he does, 50% of his audience, he has this diehard base of supporters. They'll support it no matter what. If he bombs Iran, they'll support it. If he brings in 500,000 Chinese students, they'll say he doesn't really mean it. If he fails to deport people, they'll say, well, who cares? The border's secure, so what? That's the problem. And so this is when you start to begin to think politically and start to think about what our real end game is. My end game is not to elect Republicans and be marginally better than the Democrats. No, my end game is I do want an energetic president. I want an energetic, forward-thinking, progressive, disruptive, populist executive branch that is going to fucking break the back of the power in the country and put Americans first. No more kickbacks, no more deals, no more corruption, no more special interests, no more super PACs. We literally need a real leader that is actually popular and in control with agency, someone smart, to get in, fire everybody, bring in his own people, and literally make the trains run on time. Literally build the new cities, raise the skyscrapers from the ground.
This Nick Fuentes right here, I totally agree. Need somebody very progressive, somebody who comes in and just like, hey, the shit that we're doing right now ain't working. We're going to tear this shit down and build it back up the way that it should be, where it works for the average everyday person. Totally agree with what he's saying right here. Now, he wants to build this place for only white people. That's the actual issue. But, in a grand scheme of things, if this could work for everyone, then yeah, I totally agree with Nick Fuentes on this.
Build the factories. Put us on a war footing. Make the fucking country great again. That's all I'm interested in. If it's not that, I don't want it. So don't tell me the next best thing is this. The next best thing is we're going to elect Trump and he's going to make another joke about how you say Buttigieg's name. We're going to elect Trump and, hey, man, it's better than the Democrats. I don't care. They're murdering our country. On what timeline? Are we going to murder the country in 10 years or 5 years? You're still murdering the country. Trump promised to be that leader. He's not. It's time to move on. Now, you can vote Republican. I don't care. But if you are not dedicating yourself as a young person to getting yourself ready for that truly revolutionary moment, then you're just not engaging in politics. That's why I tell people, get ready. Get ready for the moment when that revolutionary leader appears and says, we need factory workers. We need workshops. Someone needs to make the missiles. Someone needs to make the tanks, the cars. Someone needs to make the steel that will build the buildings.
I think trade schools are very important. We need more of that. Now, I don't know if he means that, we're going to have all these factory jobs coming back to the United States. That's not going to happen. But we definitely need skilled people here. I do agree with that as far as, making sure people have a trade and they know how to build things and create things.
That's why I tell people, go to college, get skills, get jobs, be a human Swiss Army knife. Be a spy, be a soldier. Because when that revolutionary government comes to power, we want to go to DC and rule.
But bitch, have you done that yourself? That's the real question. Talking about people need to do this and that. Like, have you done it?
And for those that can't do that, we want you to be able to go and start a workshop and make the country different. We need energy. We need productivity. We need to build. We need to expand. It's not about electing some Republican government so they could overturn the civil rights law and DEI or whatever. Like, who cares? As long as they're bringing in millions of Asians every year, as long as everything stays the same. So that's the essence of the disappointment. And this is where Israel First and Trump are going down together. They're going down holding hands because they're inextricably connected. Israel First, Ben Shapiro, and tired, low-energy Trump, they're both going down the tubes together. This is a movement that is no longer talking to Americans, doesn't care about Americans, doesn't put Americans first. And it's finished. When Trump goes out and says, I could cut the number of Chinese students in half, and maybe that'd make people happy, but I'm not going to. You're not talking to Americans anymore. You forgot Americans. You're putting them last again. You're not fighting for them, but you're still answering to Mark Levin and Shapiro. Well, you can have them. This movement is over. And now the question is, what comes next? Trumpism is over. I hate to inform you, this administration is done. Stick a fork in it. It's fucking over. We played this game. It's deja vu. I was there for the first term, and I remember right up until 2020, I was saying, okay, we could still make a difference. I remember in spring 2020, I was coping. Trust me when I tell you it's over. We're out of time.
What I find interesting about this is that, it's been the discussion about Joe Rogan, Andrew Scholes, all these, red pill or podcast bros, as they call them, changing their mind and all we didn't vote for this. What's going on? And it's all no, yes, you did. And Nick Fuentes was always somebody who he had jumped off the whole MAGA Trump train a long time ago. And just hearing him kind of break it down, it's all this makes a lot of sense. This is not the same movement as it was in 2016. This is completely different. This was basically hey, we're going to get in here and we're just going to do some shit because we can do anything that we want. And, whatever happens, happens. They didn't care about the actual country. Like, this is literally like, hey, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Let's go ahead and try to get some deals out of this. Even when he was talking about how, like, it seems like now taking pictures with Trump or being associated with him is like a business. You know, the whole cryptocurrency thing. Like, where, like, shouldn't that be illegal, him making money from his own presidency? Like, it's crazy. It's mind-blowing. Like, you have these things going on, and it's like, wait, this can't be legal, but no, it is legal. And he's looking out for self-interest. He's looking out for the interests of people who have the billions of dollars, the people with the big corporations. These are the people that he's looking out for. He does not care about the little man, the small man. Like, who gives a damn about you? At the end of the day, like, I'm gonna be good. That's Trump and his billionaire friends. That's what their thought process is. We gonna be good. Now, whatever happens to y'all happens to y'all. But hey, I already got my plot on the moon. You know, you remember when they were talking about buying land on the moon and stuff like that? That's their thought process. If the world burns down, we'll move on the moon. Who cares? That's literally how they think. They do not give a damn about us. But to ever think that Trump was for the little guy or he wanted to drain the swamp, you can't drain the swamp if you're in the swamp. You cannot do that. But the whole MAGA and everything like that, I think people are now coming to the realization that shit's over. You dealing with a brand new monster, and y'all, listen, y'all wonder why the leopards is eating your face right now. You knew it was a leopard, and you knew it was hungry. You knew that it would prey on you and then bite you in the face. Guess y'all got to learn the hard way. All right, you guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you guys think of all of this. Do you think MAGA is officially over now? Well, you let me know. Deuces, everybody. We out.